Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom, SP3, back once again with a new edition of the 3 Count with SP3 for December 19th, 2019. We are coming off the heels of one of the best nights of television for professional wrestling of 2019, so a lot of news to unpack here. On our first count, we're going to be talking about all the notes coming out of AEW Dynamite and NXT. For our second count, we're going to be talking about a big release from Impact Wrestling, which gives us another key free agent going into 2020. And on our third count, we're going to be talking about people that read up with their company, two major teams reading up with the WWE. So, for our first count on the 3 count with SP3 for December 19th, 2019, we got to talk about everything coming off of AEW Dynamite and NXT last night. The Wednesday Night Wars has traditionally, for the last 12 weeks, given us the best night of television from professional wrestling, and I think last night might have been the best night for, I would say, both shows, but definitely NXT. NXT had a takeover quality type of night. It's kicked off the show with Adam Cole versus Finn Balor for the NXT Championship, one of the best NXT Championship matches on television this year, and one of the best WWE TV matches of the year in my eyes as well. And it ended with a big return, the return of Johnny Gargano. Johnny Wrestling returns to NXT coming off last night. Big return, distracting Finn Balor, causing him to lose to Adam Cole. And it looks like we're going to finally get Gargano versus Balor. And then we ended off the night with one of the biggest title changes of 2019. The entire year for NXT has been told the dominance of Shayna Baszler with the NXT Women's Champion, the longest reigning NXT Women's Champion in history, with her 2 combined reigns of 548 days. Finally came to an end as the Nightmare Rhea Ripley became the new NXT Women's Champion in a great performance. Honestly, in my eyes, like I said, Cole and Balor was one of the best WWE TV matches of the year, but so was Ripley versus Baszler. And I say Ripley versus Baszler was just a slightly bit better than Balor versus Cole. It was just emotional. It told the whole story of Shayna Baszler's dominance. We had the horsewomen get involved. We had the choke out where the person fights away and then they eventually get choked out, except this time Rhea Ripley did not get choked out. She grabbed the referee, got the momentum up, she hulked up, got out of it, gave her a second rope riptide to win the NXT Championship. After the match, a whole bunch of NXT talent as well as family and friends got into the ring with a huge mosh pit celebration for Rhea Ripley. Next week's show has already been taped, but it's got 2 pretty big matches. It's going to have Roderick Strong with an open challenge for the NXT North American Championship, and a big time tag team matchup for next week, as it's going to be Keith Lee teaming up with the former NXT Cruiserweight Champion Lio Rush to versus the team of Tony Nese and Damian Priest. It seems to be teasing a Damian Priest Keith Lee rivalry. These guys have gone one-on-one before, with Damian Priest getting the victory, so it seems like we might be going back in that direction. Coming back in 2020 is the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. The premier tournament in NXT will be making its return in 2020, and we will find out the teams for that tournament on January 1st, as well as we will hear the winners of the NXT year-end awards. AEW Dynamite on the other side had another very strong show. They're keeping it consistent every single week. I would say NXT definitely had the better show, with the 2 huge title matches on the bookends, as well as pretty good matches sprinkled in with Cameron Grimes versus Kushida, as well as Pete Dunne versus Travis Banks. Even Killian Dane versus Damian Priest was a really good matchup as well. AEW Dynamite kicked off the show with Kenny Omega and Hangman Page versus the Lucha Bros. Told the story of Hangman Page and Kenny Omega not getting along. After the match, they continued the Kenny Omega-Pac rivalry, with Pac going after Michael Nakazawa. We had the huge tag team matchup between SCU and the Young Bucks for the tag team titles. Before that, I would say AEW did an excellent job building up the matchup, the 10-minute time limit match between Jungle Boy and Le Champion Chris Jericho, with the vignette of Jungle Boy getting ready for the matchup, as well as his interview with with Jim Ross, talking about what his father would think about this huge moment for him. And then the Jungle Boy made it the 10 minutes. Survived Le Champion. After the match, Chris Jericho no-selling it, saying that, I told you Jungle Boy couldn't beat me. And it was like, no, you said that he couldn't last 10 minutes. And he did. Tony Schiavone and Chris Jericho have great chemistry on the mic. And then Chris Jericho extending his olive branch to Jon Moxley for January 1st. They have a huge surprise for him for that big show in Jacksonville, Florida. Later on in the night, Chris Statlander defeated Britt Baker, and now Chris Statlander will go one-on-one with AEW Women's Champion Riho on the January 1st episode. MJF will have his stipulations that Cody has to agree to go one-on-one with him. And added on to that, due to the matchup last night with Cody and Darby Allin defeating the Butcher and the Blade, finally Cody getting rid of the Butcher and the Blade and defeating them, now Darby Allin will go one-on-one with Cody Rhodes on the January 1st episode of AEW Dynamite. I'm not 100% agree with Young Bucks losing yet again after they were built up as the best tag team in the world, and XCU not being able to really keep up with them. SCU really kind of beat them out of nowhere. And then after the match, the Dark Order attacking. It made sense on one point. On the other side, I can see why a lot of people did not like that. The crowd reaction wasn't what it was. Our good friend and correspondent and admin from the Pro Wrestling Spotlight, Louis A., was at the event, and he said that was the loudest he's ever heard Corpus Christi in his life. But they did not react to the Dark Order attacking the Elite. I'm not 100% on Cody getting involved in that. I'm definitely not 100% with Kenny Omega getting involved with that, especially because he has the whole story with Hangman Page going on. He still has an open-ended feud with Jon Moxley, and he has his third match coming up with Pac. We didn't even get follow-up for what happened to Michael Nakazawa. Michael Nakazawa may be in a hospital. He may be kidnapped. We don't even know. AEW needs to get better with following up with what they do in commercials, and they definitely need to get better with their show closing angles, because this one was kind of hit or miss depending on what side of the ledger you're on. Both shows might be below that 700,000 viewer mark. Just warning you guys, because of the impeachment of the Orange Man, our president, Donald Trump. I think a lot of viewers and a lot of the American public was watching that, and they did not watch AEW Dynamite or NXT Live. I think the DVR numbers are going to be ridiculous for these shows, but as far as the live viewership, it's going to be rough. For our second count, for the 3 count with SP3, we got to talk about Killer Kross. Killer Kross for the last couple of months has been in a behind-the-scenes war with Impact Wrestling trying to get his release. He signed up with Impact Wrestling back in 2018 for a contract in a value that was really below what he needed to sign for, and his girlfriend, Scarlett Bordeaux, went through the same thing. She chose to leave Impact Wrestling, getting her release, and then eventually signing with NXT and WWE. Killer Kross has had a longer journey because he went public with his feelings about wanting his release. Impact Wrestling made his exit from the company very difficult, but after months and months and months of a back and forth struggle between the two sides, Killer Kross has finally been granted his release from Impact Wrestling. He released a very cryptic video last night on social media, basically teasing that he could potentially wind up in MLW, in the NWA on NWA Power. He might even wind up in WWE NXT or the WWE main roster. AEW superstars were highlighted in this video. ROH superstars was highlighted in this video. So he made it open-ended and very made you interested on what his next move will be in the professional wrestling world. So in my eyes, I think that Killer Kross is going to be a very premier and must-watch free agent for 2020. He goes right up there with Marty Scurll, Jeff Cobb, who hasn't re-signed with Ring of Honor yet. In the months coming up in like April towards the summer, the Revival will also be free agents. So a whole bunch of free agents are coming up, and we're going to have to keep our eyes on it. For our third count and final count for the 3 count with SP3, we got to talk about a couple of guys who re-signed with the WWE. Kofi Kingston re-signed with WWE for a 5-year deal. It was revealed on WWE Backstage during the Satin Sheet with Ryan Satin of Pro Wrestling Sheet. He revealed that both Xavier Woods and Big E signed identical 5-year contracts for the same amount of money, same value as Kofi Kingston, keeping the whole team on the same level. This is quite the great move by the team. It kind of represents that they are going to be a team and a stable for the longer period of time for the next 5 years. They want to be associated with each other. They want to have the same value in contract. They want to stick together, and they want to make this a unit that lasts longer than any other stable in history. It seems like the New Day is going to last longer than stables like the Shield, stables like the NWO, stables like DX. It might have to take a little bit more time before it catches up to the premier stable and the standard bearer of stables, which is the Four Horsemen, which were together for years, but the New Day seems to be chasing the dragon that is the Four Horsemen and trying to get that longevity of any other stable. And my hat's off to the New Day for doing that. It's definitely a move that talks about the unity and the connection that all 3 guys has. So I'm very happy for them. Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, they also re-signed with the WWE, longer term deals, more of their now main roster contracts. They are not getting paid like NXT talent anymore. They are getting paid like main roster superstars, and I'm very happy for them. I've been one person that's been very adamant on my feelings on NXT. I feel like the superstars there are undervalued because they're not performing as much as the guys on the main roster. They're not paid like the guys on the main roster. So that's why the goal for most NXT talent is to move up to the main roster so you can make the most money possible for the job that you're putting in and the performances that you're putting in. But the quality of the performances of NXT deserve that main roster money in my eyes. The Street Profits is a team that should have been really showing off their charisma and their chemistry together on the main roster with their backstage segments as well as their comedy. Haven't had any great matches or even really good matches as of yet because they haven't been given that opportunity, but they've definitely showed that they can get over with the main roster audience. So I'm very happy that they got main roster deals. That is all for this edition of the 3 Count with SP3 for December 19th, 2019. Post your comments down below in the comments section on everything that went down on AEW Dynamite as well as NXT and all the news and notes coming out of that for the December 25th Christmas edition for NXT as well as their New Year's edition on January 1st. Give your thoughts on what you think is going to happen on the January 1st edition of AEW Dynamite and what you thought was the better show on December 18th between NXT and AEW. Post your comments down below in the comments section to tell us where you think Killer Cross will wind up next. Is it going to be MLW, NWA, ROH, AEW, the WWE? Where is Killer Cross going to wind up next? And of course, we got to talk about our 3rd count and what you guys think about the New Day and the Street Profits with their new contracts, what you think about the New Day getting equal value, same length of contract, and what you think about the Street Profits finally making that main roster bread. If you enjoyed this video, like it and subscribe to the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. You'll get your latest news with the 3 Count with SP3. There's a lot more videos to come this week. You got a new edition of the Romeo Report as well as Dark Power and Joints and Jabronis coming up this weekend. Stay tuned to the Tru Heel Heat page on Facebook, and you'll get information on when we go live with Tru Heel Heat 58, where we'll be giving you the winners of the 2019 Tru Heels Year-End Awards, our 3rd annual edition, and we'll have that up right here on our YouTube channel later this weekend. So for me, it is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3, signing off for the 3 Count with SP3. Until next time.